World Water Day, and that's what we're talking about. And the key thing is that the problem is not about the world not having adequate water. It's about the world not having enough potable water. As we mark the day, we'll turn our attention to that. My guest, Dr. Philip Amoah, is with the International Water Management Institute. Dr. Amoah, grateful for your time this morning.
You're welcome.
So let's stay on this. The issue is about wastewater, water and wastewater. Now, why is wastewater so key when we're talking about World Water Day?
Yeah, it's very, very important we draw our attention to wastewater. In fact, most people consider wastewater as waste.
But it's a waste.
It is. But then it should be considered a valuable resource from which revenue can be generated, and then that revenue can be used for something else, something very important, instead of considering it as waste. In Ghana, for example, we can consider wastewater as a valuable resource, and that one can actually help us address some of the sanitation challenges that we are having.
I see. So it's a waste, but we can derive a lot of very good things from it.
A lot of that.
How is that? You're talking about recycling?
I'm talking about irrigation. Yes, recycling. But we can use irrigation. It's for irrigation. We can use the excreta for fertilizer, for example. We can get energy from some of these things. Because of that, the WHO have actually attached a lot of importance to this. And we have come out with guidelines for the safe use of wastewater for agriculture, for example. Why is it that wastewater is just released into the environment untreated? We can treat it, and the treated effluent can be used for irrigation, for example. So why don't we do that? Now, in Accra here, you go around and you see so many farmers using polluted water to irrigate
water
crops.
From the drains.
From the drains, which is actually polluted. Actually, it receives pollutants from the whole environment. It can be even excreta, getting into contact with, and the farmers are using it. But there are better ways, there are very good ways of handling this, and therefore the farmers can also get income from it.
Okay, let's talk about good way. How do we handle these? Water from, for instance, if you look at the North Industrial area of Accra, if you go into the drains around there, you find colored water running through them. You find all kinds of wastewater from homes and other places. How do we turn these into what you're talking about?
It depends upon the type of wastewater you are talking about. Let me, before answering this question, distinguish between, or actually define or explain what wastewater is about.
Right.
When we say wastewater, we are talking about water which is not needed anymore for its purpose. You have used this water, and then what comes out is not needed, unwanted water. But then we have two main types technically, or two main groups. You can have grey water. Now, grey water is water from the bathrooms, from the kitchens, from the industries that you talked about, and that one is one group. The other group is black water, and black water is made up of excreta, and then urine, flash water, and then anal cleansing materials, etc. So when you put these two together, you have wastewater.
Can you classify waste from hospitals under the black water? You know, these surgeries and some of the stuff they throw away, can we classify them under the black water you're talking about?
No. Black water, I'm talking about excreta, human excreta.
Okay.
But if it is from hospital, it depends where it's coming from. If it is coming from the sewer line, if it's coming from the toilet,
it can fall under the
black water.
The black water.
So it depends on where exactly it's coming from. If it is from maybe bathrooms, from the hospitals, yes, it's grey water.
I see. So these are the two types, and you said we can make use of them.
We can make good use of that.
How do we?
I'll give you examples. In Accra here, we have a waste stabilization pond system in Accra, specifically in Legon. What happens is that all the sewage water from the university, from the schools around, PRESEC, is channeled, all the waste is channeled into that system. The system is such that you have a number of ponds arranged in series, and as the sewage water goes through the ponds, it is treated. So it means that the water that comes out of that system is clean water.
I see.
Why don't we use that one for irrigation, for example? Because maybe downstream that system, you have vast land which can be used to cultivate crops. In that case, we can generate income from the use of this water for irrigation. If you go to India, for example, specifically a city called Kolkata, this treated wastewater is used to produce fish. In a year, they can produce about 18,000 tons of fish a year.
I see.
That's a valuable resource. And if we treat it as such, we are going to get a lot of income, and we'll actually be able to address most of our sanitation systems or sanitation problems in this particular country. Look, about 95% or more of wastewater treatment plants in this country are broken down. And if you ask why, there's no money for operation and maintenance.
So that accounts for why we're wasting wastewater.
Exactly. So we have to always be thinking about reuse. We reuse the waste and we get something out of it. Let me tell you this. My organization, which is the International Water Management Institute, in a couple of weeks' time will launch a treatment plant in Tema, where we are using human excreta as fertilizer. We call it Fortifa. Human excreta from septic tanks are collected.
Around Tema
Are collected, and these are actually treated, composted, and pelletized to produce fertilizer, which can be used
for farmers.
So
how do we deal with this? Now, if the systems, you said 95% of it is broken down. Now, we're talking about this. Is it that easy to get authorities to refix and get these systems re-running? Is it that easy? If you look at the totality, what will go into getting these systems back on track?
Most of these systems maybe will have to be redesigned. And the thinking behind it should be that we have to try to incorporate reuse. That is where we are driving towards now. If we incorporate reuse, it means we will just see the waste as a valuable resource, and then we can actually get something out of that to maintain and operate the system.
I see. So we'll put in the money, but we'll be able to recover whatever we have put in. That's
exactly
what you're saying.
Exactly. So that we wouldn't be saying that we don't have money to operate and maintain the system. The system itself can generate revenue, income that can be used. And therefore, if we think about reuse, it is very, very key.
Let's begin to wrap up our conversation. Is this idea known to those who are supposed to get these systems to rerun? Our authorities, local authorities, or whoever is in charge of these facilities?
No, that is why this discussion is very important. At least we'll bring it to the fore, that in future, if we have to think about wastewater, we have to think about reuse. And that is very, very important. And that is why I like this year's
theme for
very, very, very much. At least to actually let us think about it, draw attention to it, and think that it's a very important resource which, when managed very well, can be useful.
Dr. Amoh, I'm grateful for your time.